Hello fellow EverQuest players and welcome back to another video. I'm currently working on the guide and showcase for EZServer and the different parts there, but for this video I'll be going back to the EZServer series where I show off some tips and tricks to make your overall experience playing unboxing on our server more pleasant. And today in this video I'm going to show you how to use the in-game HUD. If you are not familiar with the in-game HUD, it's the HUD that you get up in the corner when you press F11. So pressing the function key 11, you'll turn this on and off. As you can see now, I am in Tier 10, Sunrock Springs, in the corner here I have some rare spawns that are currently up. Along with some other information that will be useful for me when I'm playing. And I've had a lot of questions about how you make these HUDs and how to benefit from having them. So let me start with the basics here. First off, you need to go into your MacroQuest2 folder. And once you're in here, you'll find a file called MQ2HUD.ini. And here it is. Here is mine, one that I'm editing currently. Basically anything that you put in below the elements here in this section will be shown on the HUD screen in game. Basically this is where the mobs are identified, as said. So anything below here is something that you will show up in the HUD in game. If you want to learn more about this than what I'm explaining in the video, you can basically just Google MQ2HUD and you'll find the MacroQuest's own webpage where the HUD is explained quite thoroughly. But why is this good to have? Yeah, well, basically because you'll have a better overview of what's happening in game. With the spawns and most notably the rare spawns. So as you can see here now, I have two rare spawns up. These are triggered bosses that spawn in the zone that I'm in. Even though when you kill the mobs and trigger these, they will also give a a message over the screen here. So but sometimes in some of the zones and some of the bosses here are kind of easy to miss. So this is just so helpful for me. So let's get into it and see how you can make this on your clients as well. But before I start explaining, I'll just say one more thing. Activating this HUD will for some reason decrease your frame rates in game, not necessarily by too much, but it is definitely something that you may need to keep in mind depending on your current hardware. So you may not want to have the HUD activated on all your clients. It may be just enough with your main character. So yeah, just wanted to say that first. So let's pop back into the HUD, the INI. And as you can see here, I have a few elements here that has nothing to do with the actual rare spawns. And you can just add these as well if you want to. This line here will display the game time, the time in game. And that can be very useful, especially in the zone that I'm currently in, because some of the mobs are related to the time of the day. So up here you can I can see what the game time is. You can also just type time and you will get the earth time and the game time displayed in here. So it's 5 AM and so this is a bit more exact, as you can see. Also we have something called last tell here, which will actually display. I haven't had any tells after I logged on for this session, but if I get a tell from someone, it'll display their name here. I will also have a view of how many characters I have in my raid, and also how many players are in the zone, and that is basically the lines that I'm currently marking here. So you may add these if you find them useful as well. And below here we have these two lines, which is basically the two lines that I'm showing here. One that says the rear spawns in the zone and one that has the underline here. And below those you can see the boss names here, the name spawns. So that is these here. There is a lot of cutting and pasting, so you don't have to write all these, you know, codes every time you want to add a new spawn, so don't worry about that. I won't go into great detail on everything here, but I'll say a few things. First of all, I just call them spawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so. I don't think you necessarily need to, you know, make numbers like this. I think you can call them whatever, but you know, it's for easier view of the HUD for me anyway. So basically, there are a few numbers here, and some of them, like these, are the color of the text. So this is blue. I mean yellow, and also you have something in relation to the text size and stuff. But you can learn more about that in the MQ Emulator's HUD page. But the one that you really need to, you know a little bit about is the X and the Y position on the screen where you want the HUD to be displayed. So you can see this is the X position, 555. It's the same position all over again here, down here. And the only thing that I'm changing really with the position is the Y position. So as you can see here, the Y position gets higher in numbers when I add them. And then
a new portal has opened.
Yeah, that's my audio triggers going. So you can see here in the current zone that we're in, you'll have to input Sunrock because that's the name of the zone that these mobs spawn in. So basically, when you want to add new spawns here, you can just copy one of these lines and just change to spawn 6, and then you have to change the Y position here so the names don't overlap, and you'll have to change the name, obviously. So as you can see, sometimes I've written NPC, and sometimes I've written the equal sign here. So let me tell you why I've sometimes used the equal sign. Basically, some of the mobs have names that, you know, are quite similar to other mobs in the same zone. So basically, like in Vision's Peak, we have a boss called Rolfer, and in the zone you may also find some mobs that's named like Rolfer's Elite Bodyguard, something like that. And if you don't have the equal sign here, if you don't only use the NPC, like I've done here, then the HUD in-game will also display the names of the elite guards. As long as they are up in the zone, it will display them as well. So in some instances you can use the equal sign to make sure that, you know, the HUD only displays the actual boss with a unique name here. In some instances you cannot even use the equal sign. Like for instance in Sunrock, where I'm at now, you'll have to type the NPC. You can't use the equal sign here. So let me try and make a new one here, a new spawn here for you, just to show you how I do it. So let's move in game first, and we'll find a spawn here. Okay, so who are we gonna go for? We can use this one, a dry bones skeleton. So all right, if I that is not a very important spawn to, you know, monitor, but let's just do it for the sake of explaining this here. So I make a spawn 6, and now you can see this the Y location here is the same as spawn number 5. So I'm not gonna alter this, just to show you what happens in game. And then you go over to the spawn name, and you have to change this to a dry bones skeleton. So like there. And the good thing about this is now if you save this, you may just pop into the game again and you will instantly see if you have got it to work. And as you can see here, the dry bone skeleton is overlapping the other name spawn written here. So that is why you need to change the Y location. So I just wanted to show you there what happens if you don't do it properly. So going back out here, we just changed this, and adding. I find with a font size that I'm using, adding 10 is not enough. So I'm increasing it by 20. So saving it again and popping back in, and you will see that it'll line up good under the other two names like this. So so once you have this, it's pretty easy to do. And once you have this down, you can just continue to add spawns, as many as you like, really. The only thing you have to worry about is as long as you are adding NPC names in the same zone, then you have to alter the Y location here on this HUD screen. It doesn't matter if they are in another. You can, as you can see here, I'm using the same Y location for Venerable Sarthin in Vision's Peak as I'm using for the Forge Master Blazeclaw in Sunderock, and that is just fine because those two bosses will never be up at the same time, so they will never overlap. So basically this is how you do it. We can also, if you want, you can change this to whatever color you want. So we can do this, and you can see in game what happens when you change these last three numbers. You will get a different color on the spawn here. So you can change these colors to whatever color you want. If you want them red, green, blue, whatever, you can just change that quite easily by altering the ini file, and it'll display. You don't have to, quit the MQ emulator or quit the game and relog and stuff like that. You just it'll get, as you can see, this was a really bad color to choose. I can almost not see the dry bone skeleton now. But anyway, you'll figure that out. It's quite easy. So that is how you easily add the named spawns to your HUD in game. I'm sure there are many other, basic general things you can add to the HUD that might be useful for you. I know there are some parts you can add that'll show the names of the different windows and buttons you're in if you want to make some commands there. So there are a lot of things you can add here, really. But what I find most useful is the game time, the raid members and players in zone, just to get an overview of if you've lost any members. So some of your tunes have died or something. So it'll be pretty easy to say if I'm running here with my 33 characters and in the raid, and then suddenly it says only 32 in the zone. Then you will pretty quick understand that you have lost a character and you need to rest in and so. So I think that is it, really. Yeah, just remember to go into your MicroQuest directory, find the HUD file, and you can just copy this if you want to. If you're in Discord, I can just send it, and you can, edit it as the way you want it to be. Yeah, I think that concludes this small guide to how to use the HUD in game. So thanks for following, and have a good day.